Weekend UpNate. The Weekend UpNate. Your weekly recap of news, current events, and trending stories. Let's do this. The Weekend UpNate with your host, Nate Armbruster.
Hello and welcome to episode 54 of Weekend UpNate. How's everybody doing? I had a good weekend. I was in Michigan. I was in an old town called Wyandotte, Michigan. Now, if you've never heard of it, you're not missing out, okay? It's just your average, everyday, typical suburb, and it was a good time. I did a show there at this place called Portofino's, which is a known comedy venue. It's a restaurant with like a banquet hall, but like locally, it's a known venue for stand-up, and I haven't been there since before the pandemic, so it was good to be back, and the show was great. Now, the thing about shows there is, in most cases, they are fundraisers, right? And I've done like serious fundraisers there for like someone who's sick and needs money, like kind of like a bummer of a reason. Actually, one time I remember there was like a younger girl who had cancer, and the fundraiser, I mean, sometimes you don't know until you show up what the fundraiser is all about. So I show up and I'm like, yeah, so what's the cause for tonight? And they're like, oh, so-and-so who has cancer. And the weird part was that they didn't expect the patient to be alive still by the time they had organized this. They assumed that she outlived her expected estimate or whatever the hell it's called. When a doctor says you have 6 months to live, well, she lived, more than 6 months past the date that they expected her to pass away. So although it's like one of the happiest, things, it's like, yeah, we're all glad she's still with us. And like, but it's like, we're doing this fundraiser for her and she's there and nobody expected her to be there. And she's sitting right in front, and she has no hair from treatment. And, I'm supposed to go up there and be like, oh, so Uber's weird. You know what I mean? Like, it's an uncomfortable situation. This poor girl, I mean, and I don't know. I don't even remember exactly how long ago this was. I mean, I hope she's still around, but I just remember how uncomfortable. And, like, it's uncomfortable for me because none of these people know or care who I am, right? They're just there to raise some money to help, pay for medical bills and, potential funeral costs and things like that. And I got to go up there and I'm like, why don't you guys just raise the money? You already bought the ticket. Just keep the money, hang out, have dinner. Like, you don't need the show. Now it's just uncomfortable because everybody wants to talk about how well she's doing and how grateful they are. Instead, I'm up there trying to be like, yeah, so texting and driving is dangerous, right? Yeah, it shouldn't do, like I'm doing like these shitty jokes and like, it was so awkward. Now, those are like the serious fundraisers, right? Where like they do a raffle, they have like prizes along the back wall in this like banquet hall, right? And they raffle them off. They do a whole raffle to raise some money. And the thing is, at the end, you do like a 50-50 or whatever. And someone, because of the nature of the cause, donated that money back, and damn well should have, because you can't be the guy that's like, I'm not going to donate half back, like I'm not going to donate my winnings back to the cause, right? Now, on the other hand, if you do like a baseball team fundraiser, right, you're keeping that money. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to keep that couple $100. I guess it depends on how much. If it's like $50, I'm like, all right, I'll just give it back to the group. But if it's like $500, I'm keeping that shit. I'm worried that I would be the type of guy that would be at like a serious fundraiser like that for someone who's sick. And I win the 50-50 and they're like, so what are you going to do? And I got to be the guy that's like, yeah, I'm going to keep it. Like, that's only if you're like the guy that's invited because you're with somebody who's like a relative, and not even like an immediate relative. It's like a distant relative of the person who's sick. And you're just like the fifth party that's there. You know what I mean? Like, no one even knows who you are. And you got to donate that money back? Nah, I'm never going to see any of these people again. I'm keeping this shit for myself. Now, this weekend, it wasn't such a serious cause. It was just a baseball team fundraiser, right? It's a bunch of parents who are like, I don't want to pay full price for the jerseys. I'd rather raise some money and drag my family to a comedy show. So they also spend money and do this raffle or whatever. It's funny, like in some cases, I'm like, yeah, they're like, we raised $6,000. And I'm like, yeah, but you kind of extorted all your friends. You're like, hey, buy tickets to this comedy show we're doing. Just give them the $50. You know what I mean? Just donate it. Why do we have to bring comedy into this? Now, I'm not complaining because these shows are always pretty fun, actually. I always have a good time there. But it is funny to me that that's how we handle like youth sports and stuff. Why do we have to do what's with all this fundraising, for what? And how come it still costs money after the fundraiser? $6,000. How expensive is it to play baseball? Now, this is a baseball team fundraiser, like I said, and I'm walking around in the back of the room looking at some of the raffle prizes, and some of them are pretty cool. They're like, because it's outside of Detroit, there's Detroit Tigers tickets, there's all sorts of stuff, like kind of like stuff you would have in the home, like a toaster or some shit, stuff like that. Now, I'm looking at this table, just kind of perusing what people are, because you put your tickets in the tin, for the prize you want to win. And I'm looking at the table and I notice one of the prizes, it's a brand new laundry basket. And it is filled with bags of potato chips, like Better Made, which is a local Detroit brand, Better Made potato chips, sour cream and onion, plain, and barbecue. And then I think there was a bag of Doritos and a couple other random snack food items. And I didn't think anything of it, right? I noticed it and I just thought, that's an interesting, who came up with this? At the parents meeting, they're like, okay, we need prizes for the fundraiser this weekend. What do you guys bring in? And the dad was like, fuck, that was this weekend. I don't have time to get something cool Tigers tickets or anything, which organizations like that just have, they just write it off as a donation, so you can just contact them and be like, we're doing this fundraiser, and then they just donate them anyway. So this guy clearly forgot, right? There's no way. I bet you they already had that laundry basket and they were like, yeah, I'm just going to throw these. We'll just stop at 7-Eleven on the way to the show and fill up this shit, Now, I thought that was funny because I'm on stage and there's these crowds, because everybody knows each other. A fundraiser crowd like that can be awkward because they know everybody, right? Who every person is in the room. So you might be hesitant to laugh at a topic or a subject that you maybe find funny, but you don't want so-and-so to know that you find it funny because you don't want them to judge you or whatever. So sometimes there's a weird energy in the room. And I can't remember the joke I was doing, but they kind of got weird on me for a minute. And I just, and I said something along the lines of man, I know some of you are here to raise money for your kids' baseball team. I know some of you are here because you just know a person who has a kid who plays on this team and you didn't have time to think of an excuse to not come, or you're just here for the raffle. I just want to win that laundry basket full of potato chips. And I just said that. And I mean, when I say the eruption of laughter, it shook the room. It was so, because it was the elephant in the room. It's that's a shitty prize, right? Everybody agreed that this was just an awful prize to win. And the thing is, people put tickets in for it. You buy an arm's length worth of raffle tickets and you put you put a few in there. You're like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll just throw a couple in the laundry basket full of chips prize and see what happens. And it was a hell of a night. I just could not believe that was someone's contribution. If that gives you any idea of the type of crowd I was dealing with, it was so bizarre and funny to me. And the fact that everyone else thought the same thing. I hope the person who brought it wasn't offended, because actually, you know what? If they were, that's on them, because if you can't admit that that's an odd choice to contribute to the raffle for your kids' baseball team, I don't know what else to tell you. So I wish you guys could have seen it. I wish I had filmed the show and I could maybe show you a clip of it, but tough shit. So some good news. This weekend is my big old album release, right? Comedy album, and I'm very excited about it. February 3rd, Friday, February 3rd. It's available everywhere. Anywhere you stream music, anywhere you buy music, it is available. I would love it if you purchased it as, but nobody nobody buys albums anymore. No, digitally, physically, it's like it's just all streaming now. So that's what you got to do. So it's available everywhere. If you have the means and you want to support, please just purchase it. If you want to support for free, you can also do that. All you have to do is follow me as an artist on whatever streaming app you use, right? The same way you do with a podcast. You kind of subscribe, you hit follow, and you share it, and you can listen to it. Now, I will not be offended if you aren't interested. Okay, that's fine. Some people don't like stand-up, some people don't like me, some people don't. You don't have to listen to it, but what you can still do if you want to just be a good person and give me some support during this whole album release, when it comes out on Friday, go to your favorite streaming app, hit play, let it run through once or twice, right? Nonstop, don't even pause it. You can mute it, you can turn it down, you can play in the background. You don't have to listen as long as you play. And is this an awful promo for something that I care deeply about? Probably, because I would love for you to actually listen, but hey, I get it. Everybody's asking you to listen to a podcast, watch a TV show, listen to my album, so whatever. If you don't mind, give it a listen, a download, a stream, a purchase, and that will help me out greatly. So thank you so much for your support there, and go to the show description. There'll be a link to my email list, and I have a lot of live shows coming up this year that I'm very excited about. And if you live in a town that I'll be performing in, I'll notify you. That's all. Nothing crazy, right? The simple email list. So please keep in touch and do all that. Also, hit subscribe on this podcast and share it and all that good stuff. I appreciate you listening. Now, here are some wacky news stories that happened this week. All right, story number 1. A 29-year-old posed as a teen to enroll in high school in New Brunswick, New Jersey. Okay, a 29-year-old woman used false documents to enroll as a New Jersey high school student and attended some classes over a 4-day period before her scheme was uncovered last week. Now, it's not known what the woman's intentions were, but she reportedly got the phone numbers of students who helped her find her way through the New Brunswick high school and continued to text some of them days after she was found out. Okay, now this is an interesting story to me because it's funny in like a never been kissed way, right? Do you remember that movie? She goes back to high school and, has her first kiss or whatever. Now, that in Hollywood fake worlds, that's a pretty funny story, but in reality, it's like, what is wrong with this woman? Okay, I'm 30. All right. Now, we're basically the same age, me and this girl, and I could never in my life imagine going to a high school now, like again, you know what I mean? Like going back now, even if I were a parent, I'd be like, I don't want to go to this. I don't want to go to the building. I don't want to walk in. I don't want to be around kids. So I would almost say high school is more annoying. Now, I guess if I had to go, I wouldn't go to an elementary school. High school, I could at least tolerate, but I couldn't imagine pretending to fit in as an adult in the real world, trying to pretend. I don't understand the motive there. I feel like if it's a dude, you always point to creepy. You're like, this guy is a creep. I want to know what he's up to. But when it's a woman, you're kind of just like, well, is she sick? She can't be there for any weird perverted reason, right? But she's so now that she's been, she got in trouble. The woman's been barred from entering high school grounds in the entire district, which is like, that's a no-brainer, right? And forbid students to have any contact with her. Like, okay, so she got in trouble. Now she's expelled, and she can't contact any of the students she met. No, she lost every new friend she made. So how did she do it? So she provided district officials with a false birth certificate, which is so much effort, man. Like, if I'm gonna go through the trouble of creating a false birth certificate, is your first move to enroll in high school? Like, what are you going to do? I would at least get a passport or something, at least travel if I'm going to go through the trouble of falsifying a birth certificate. So schools in the state are required to immediately enroll unaccompanied children, even in the absence of records normally required for that purpose. Proof of guardianship is also not needed to immediately enroll in unaccompanied youth. Once enrolled, students have 30 days to provide additional proof of identity. This is a movie. I just don't understand the motive here. She was charged Tuesday with providing a false document, which Wasn't clear what sentence she might face if convicted. New Brunswick school officials say they will review the district's enrollment process to avoid similar incidents in the future. How about, hey, have you hit puberty? Like, you look like a grown... Well, I guess it's not impossible for a woman to look, like a 29-year-old woman to look like she's in high school. I guess you can pass for 18, maybe? Also, how bad are you at fitting in if you're an adult? Because, like, I think about it now. Like, if I could go back to high school, I would do such a better job now that I have some perspective on life. I maybe would have worked harder, paid more attention, maybe grasped some of the subject matter more, like easier. You know what I mean? But imagine being 29, going back to high school, and still not fitting in enough that you get caught pretending to be a teenager. I'm at the point in my life where I'm just trying to pretend to be older. I want that senior discount. Anyway, on to the next story. A mattress reviewing website is seeking study participants willing to get paid $1,000 to eat cheese snacks before going to sleep. Okay, now the whole idea here is to see if it affects your dreams, like nightmares and all of that. Now, I am the perfect candidate for this, okay, because I already eat cheese in bed for free. In fact, it's costing me money because of my cheese budget, okay? The company's called Sleep Junkie. They announced they're seeking 5, quote, dairy dreamers for a study that seeks to address the commonly held belief that consuming cheese or other dairy products before bed leads to nightmares. Now, if that nightmare includes, diarrhea, then yeah, I think we can all relate to that. I don't think there's any study that needs to be held here. I think it's very clear that the nightmare that you will have is waking up with what doctors refer to as bubble guts, okay? They say we also want to look at if this is true. Do different cheeses have more of an effect than others? So does cheddar give you nightmares and Swiss give you happy dreams? The 5 chosen dairy dreamers will be asked to track their sleep and provide written evaluations of their sleep quality, energy level throughout the day, and reports on dreams and nightmares after consuming various cheese products before going to sleep. I mean, it's not the worst study to participate in, but if we're just going on their journal entries, I mean, they could be writing anything, right? Like, every time I eat cheddar, I die in my sleep. But every time every time I have provolone, I get a little tingly feeling, Like, how are we supposed to know what's really true and what's not? I mean, I would just love to mess with people. They also say we're aware that it isn't just nightmares that can play havoc on a good night's sleep, so we wanted to see if there was a link between the different types of cheeses and other symptoms that can leave you feeling, quote, unrested. And the study will last for 3 months. Applications are accepted through February 10th, so get on it, people. Get on it. This is my kind of sleep study, all right? By the way, I subscribe to the theory that everyone is lactose intolerant, right? It's like a spectrum of tolerance for dairy. But I'm willing to make an exception for this. Oh, also, there's a new oldest person in the world. She's a 115-year-old Spanish woman living in Spain, of course. The Guinness Book of World Records said a woman in Spain is now the oldest person living at 115. But the real story is that the oldest person before her died. But that would be too dark of a headline, She was 118, I believe. So 115, it's like, Jesus. Like, could you imagine living that long? That is way too long for me. I want a good run. I want like 80, maybe 80 to 90. Somewhere in there is like, that's a good time to go. I couldn't imagine living past that. That seems like a brutal existence to me, The Guinness Book of World Records say Maria Morera, who lives in Catalonia, Spain, was verified Thursday as being 115 and 320. So she's about to be 116, which is nuts. And like, how do you do you really have to go verify it? I mean, just looking at her picture, it's like, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to really challenge this. I'll just let her have it. She became the oldest person living and the oldest woman living following the death of French nun Lucille Randon, a.k.a. Sister Andre, at 118 last Tuesday. Now, that is nuts. 118, and she looked miserable. Like, I can't imagine the last... that is such a long life. Okay, Morera was born in San Francisco on March 14th, 1907, and moved to Spain with her family at age 8. That's nuts, man. 1907. Like, do you congratulate her, or do you kind of go, eesh, I know, I'm sorry. Like, when you look at them, they just look like, take me now. Like, I don't even know if I can congratulate. I mean, congratulations. That's a hell of a thing. But is any of her family alive still? Like, your kids are 90. You know what I mean? All right, on to another story. Now, if you've ever tried to assemble furniture with your spouse, your partner, you're going to love this. A financial advice website is seeking a couple willing to test the strength of their bond by assembling IKEA furniture together for $1,000. This is how desperate we are, people. We're going to participate in this. Yes, for $1,000, Finance Buzz is searching for an IKEA DIY duo. Okay, that's what they're calling this. Who would be given $1,000 in IKEA store credit. Isn't that funny how they leave that out of the intro? They don't mention it's store credit. Who the fuck wants that? $1,000 in IKEA furniture. The couple would then be asked to assemble the furniture together and document the experience. I think people do this for free already. I'm sure you can find videos of this. So it says Finance Buzz is looking for a couple willing to put their relationship to the test this Valentine's season. Ah, yes, Valentine's Day, putting furniture together. Nothing romantic about it. Season by building an entire IKEA bedroom set together and documenting the experience. Just you and your significant other, and a wordless instruction manual and a hex key. Ah, true love, right? The winning couple wins $1,000 in store credit. So you don't really win anything. Applications accepted through February 14th. I can't wait to see who wins that. What kind of couple is that? Like, what if it goes well, you know? I mean, my fiance and I are pretty sane people. We get along pretty good. I don't think we've ever really argued while assembling furniture. Although, we don't have much IKEA shit, so maybe there's something we're missing out on. All right, and last but not least, a college basketball game between DeQuincy and Loyola was disrupted when an Ubereats delivery man walked onto the court in the second half while searching for the recipient of the order. Okay, it was a McDonald's delivery, by the way. When you need McDonald's, you order it no matter where you're at, even if you're inside the arena. This is how crazy the arena prices are getting. People are actually ordering Uber Eats to their seat. And I don't know how you get in, by the way, without a ticket. That's what is remarkable about this. Something tells me this might be fake, really, because have you ever tried to sit down on the lower bowl? You buy shitty seats all the way up in the nosebleeds, and you try to sneak down. I have never once successfully done that. I've gotten caught every time. And this guy just gets to walk onto the court with a delivery? Come on. The odd occurrence happened about 4 minutes into the second half of the 72-58 win over Loyola, which I know you were curious about. So I included the score. I really didn't see it, the coach said. Now, they saw the video after the game, and it's hilarious. If you haven't seen the video, click the link in the show description, and that'll take you there. But, I mean, that is great PR for Uber Eats, right? I wish any delivery person I had was as dedicated as this driver. Loyola junior Philip Alston had possession of the ball. He was attempting to clear the space away from a defender when the Uber Eats man walked just inches behind him. The delivery man just missing, running into the 6'6" forward before he was spotted by a referee who stopped the game. Imagine that. Was he going to deliver the McDonald's to someone on the court? Can we rule that out? One of the play-by-play announcers said, okay, you got to watch this for real because it's pretty ridiculous. Fans and reporters tweeted that he eventually found the customer, replied to, see, how do you get in? That's what I got to know. Regardless, I hope whoever ordered that tipped him well, okay, because my Uber Eats drivers leave the bag on the curb. They don't even walk up to the door, all right? So to get that kind of dedication, you're the luckiest person on earth this week. Well, that's going to do it for me, everybody. If you enjoyed the show, hit that subscribe button, share this with your friends, tell everyone about it. I want more listeners, and also check out that album, please, and we'll talk to you next week on another brand new episode of Weekend UpNate.
You've been listening to the Weekend UpNate with Nate Armbruster, and you liked it, didn't you? If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review, and be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week on the Weekend UpNate.
Bye-bye.